What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got Albert in bright and early. Good morning to you. We got Anna. Good morning. Bill, Corey, Jeff, Joe, Lauren. Good morning to Marius, Mike, Rick, Tim. You guys are still piling in. Maximo says ready to learn. Clarice says good morning. Thoughts on Starbucks? It's not gapping, but just curious. We could definitely take a look at Starbucks. Yeah, if you guys got tickers, let me know. Otherwise, uh, so I'll talk a little bit today. We'll try to go through some stocks. We'll try to give the best analysis we could. And then by the time like 4:15 today Eastern, none of that will matter, and we'll just be kind of reset up and talking about Nvidia, CRM. I think we got CrowdStrike earnings today too, so lots of earnings after the bell. So we finally will have something that kind of moves the market. We still have we have some retail that came out today too. I believe Abercrombie and Fitch, and I think we had Kohl's come out today too. So we have some retail coming out already today. We have some more big names tomorrow too for retail. And then we got PCE followed by a 3-day weekend. So plenty of time for the market to kind of reset. And what we say now probably won't matter in 12 hours from now. So we will see. We will see. But for today, at least, the market looked pretty bullish yesterday. The one thing I will say is a lot of times before earnings, you get some excitement built up, and I think the closer we get, which we're pretty close to those Nvidia earnings, which I think is the big one. I think that's the big one. Again, crowd I think will be interesting too. I think crowd's gonna be interesting just because it is gapping crazy low. Not gapping crazy low, but it's been pushed down. It's gapped multiple times on some hacks and some shutdowns, or according to them, some software updates that went wrong, I guess. Pretty much messing up the world. So, which is crazy how big they are. But I think that will actually be an interesting earnings report. Uh, Probably even a bigger mover than Nvidia. I think maybe if they come in with a strong beat, and then if on the conference call they come in and they say something like, "Listen, we didn't really lose any customers. It was just a mistake, and things happen," and then all's forgiven, and crowd might have the opportunity to have a decent move. Otherwise, CRM that should be usually a pretty big move after hours. But the entire market will be focused on Nvidia later today as well. So we'll see. We'll see. It should be fun. Should be fun. Yesterday though, market for SPY, not a horrible close. We did get the VPOC higher than the last 2 days, so we're still in the zone. We haven't really done too much, and I think we need a catalyst to kind of push us out. That being said, again, we did run bullish. We closed toward the highs of the day yesterday. Didn't quite make it past. I've got my next little resistance very close. We hit it yesterday, 561.82. And then I got 562.67 is the next one. And then a huge one would be 563.53. How much excitement do we get into some of these earnings that might push this market up a little bit? I don't know, but I still want to stay bullish. Where we're opening right now, though, is under yesterday's VPOC. So see if we still are inside day. Let's see if maybe we get a little profit taking, a little sell off at open. We come down to like this 560.94 range. Maybe we can kind of run into 560.68. Use that as some kind of support. And again, if we start breaking, that's not going to be a great sign for the market. However, none of it matters. We could reverse no matter which way we go by open tomorrow. So that will kind of set us up for where the actual sentiment is and how everyone's feeling for the market. But right now, I do want to stay bullish, probably a little cautious at open. I think we could get a little pullback. And then a little bit later, maybe around 10 a.m., 10:30 Eastern, we start to kind of pick it up and try to rally again. We don't have any other real big there's no Fed speaking today. There's no really anything else crazy that's going to move the market. So news-wise, pretty quiet. Q, same thing. It was a little bit of a retest gap. We closed above Monday's little we closed above the what should have been support that we gapped below, so still hanging in there. But looking for support around 475.16. Next stop up would take us to 478.45. Again, we are still actually opening as of right now underneath yesterday's VPOC, still inside day. So let's see if we get a little pullback on this one of 457.39. See if we're able to hold it this time, or if we just get some more panicked panicked bears out there, or panicked bulls looking to maybe lock some gains ahead of Nvidia earnings. 10% drop on SMCI in the last 3 minute candle. You've got my attention. 10% drop in the last 3 minute candle. Still coming down. So this was 532. Yeah, that's a big move. The news just hit. Maybe not 10%, but a lot. Yeah, 10. It's probably about a 5% move. It looks like 4 or 5% move, roughly. But yep, still a big drop. Let's see what we were at on the daily. Again, all of yesterday, and we nailed that one. We tried to get into it. We for official day trades, we just could not get filled. But we were looking for some kind of a retest. The better play was just buying some calls kind of at open. Again, this one has a lot of room in it to the downside. So I wouldn't be trying to just automatically jump in. Maybe I'll regret that if Nvidia beats and then this one is some kind of sympathy and you get some kind of gap up. But for right now, I think today we have probably into the 477.17 range. And then if that could break, maybe that takes us to like 427.19. Otherwise, I'm honestly targeting some of this range over here, 295, 297. Maybe a little pause at 332.04, somewhere in that zone. But it's got a lot of room to the downside. And then that Hindenburg report, like we said yesterday, it doesn't mean it's anything. It does not mean that any of the reports true. It's just some kind of like, look out for this. This could be an issue. This is what we're seeing. And then it takes some time for the actual story to unravel if there is any other investigations or whatever with how they do their accounting and things like that. That would be detrimental to the stock, but this will take time. This gap right here, although we just dropped 5%, I would see if we could get a little bit of a maybe a rally into 506.53, something like that. But this level is kind of shot at this point. So any retest into 506.53, that's your spot to look to go short, see if that resistance wants to hold. All of yesterday was a retest gap, so don't get it twisted. That's not bulls jumping in, except for like day traders, most likely. But they were probably out by the end of the day, and I think you have anybody else who's profitable to the short side. They were locking in gains, they're out, and I think we do drop further. So SMCI looks like it wants to go further down for today. Delaying its 10K. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not good. Hindenburg, what could go wrong? Yeah, no, that's as an investor, you're like, you know what? I do like this company. So what? They have a Hindenburg report out there and maybe all the accounting numbers is wrong. I still want to invest. I like it. I don't know. This market does buy up crazy dips, so who knows? Who knows? Brian Davis says Green Day today. I don't even think you're talking about the stock. You going to the concert? Okay, then you're probably going to a Green Day concert. I'm assuming that's where we're going with that. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. All right, we did promise Clarice. I don't want Clarice mad at me, so we'll take a look at Starbucks. Yeah, not really a gap up. I think I so yeah, my question to you, and I know I'm talking and you're typing, so little time barrier of communications, and I think there's that like 5 second lag on YouTube too. But the question is, in what aspect? um, are you trying to invest into this long term? Do you think this thing is bullish, bearish? I think it's bullish. I think we have a good like that was an incredible gap up. I think you could have had some time to add to that long term here. I honestly don't mind even adding to the long term. So I got to talk long term because there's nothing really gapping about it. But you could get some more bullish momentum today. That would we're at a little resistance here. If we start breaking, I think 98.71 ish, 98.80. The next spot would take us to about 101.52. I think that's very doable. And then the next spot up from here is 105.20. We're not at all time highs. This is 125.93. So, and I think that's the all-time high. Let's see. I know, yeah, we were in the 120s, right? Yeah, so we still have some more room to the higher side. I'm not hating on Starbucks. The one thing I would caution for, and I would not, for me personally, jump in here. I, not for any reason than it's like 2 weeks ago, I could have got it at 70, 74, $75. I was waiting for that first number to be a six, and then I would have jumped in, which I just never got. So I'm not chasing. Keep in mind there, and I don't know when the next earnings report comes out. October 31st, Halloween. So they're coming out on a scary day. Scary day. But don't forget, they did have two really bad quarters. So we're gapping up on the fact that there's activist investors, but what is the actual business doing? Maybe the activist investors can change some things, cut some costs, maybe build some revenue somehow. But keep in mind, it's not like we gapped down for no reason. We gapped down because the earnings did not look that great. So as a long-term investor, I'd probably have to give it like another three quarters, see what happens, see if it pulls back a little bit. Otherwise, no matter how bad those earnings look, do I think honestly Starbucks goes out of business? No. I don't think they cut the divvies, but when you get some activist investors, they can cut the divvies and some cost-cutting approaches and stuff like that. I've seen that happen. So I'd have to give it like three quarters, see how this entire thing plays out. Um, I don't think you could go. I don't think if you're dollar cost averaging and you're like, I really want Starbucks. I can't believe I missed it. I'm getting FOMO. Buying a couple shares, and then if it comes down, great, you could add dollar cost average. So I don't hate Starbucks. I don't mind them. You still do at least to this point. You get a little divvy. Although I think you missed the I think you missed the last one. Yeah, even on this one, so you could wait a little bit. Ex dividend date was August 16th. So even if you wanted to try to catch the next divvy and hop in before that, you could do that too. But in terms of like day trade momentum, everything is bullish right now. You still got some more room, probably about another $2 higher from here. So I wouldn't I wouldn't chase it, but if you're in it, it still looks good. Let's see, Hood. Brian says the past historical record since 1950. Q1 first half 12.49. Q1 second half 4.64. This is Q4 second half 16.9. Are you 16.24 second half 16.97? So you just like, man, this is definitely the bullish case. We have I would say we definitely have some unhistorical events still happening. Like there's still a lot that has to play out. We could get hit by another yen carry trade, and then people have to Google what that is and then become experts and write it on Facebook. It has to play out still. We still have potential second inflation hike. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. We still got interest rates where we're not sure what's cutting. So, but yeah, historically, market is still looking good and probably I think does have a good fourth. Let's get through today. Let's get through today. Let's not let Nvidia crush our dreams though. Nvidia comes in with a big miss today. We could have some issues on our hand. Hood looking decent. We did just run into a very, very strong resistance, 2140. So if you're looking for continuation on this one, you're probably going to want to wait to see if you can break out of the highs of yesterday's candle. Otherwise, just inside candle, so nothing too crazy. You do have a little support on this one. Uh, Somewhere around $20.95. Keep in mind, and this is probably gonna be for Monday, but we did just rally from 1472 all the way up to this $21 mark, 2136-ish. I still like it in the bull side. I think Bitcoin was getting clapped last night and probably even into today. So that's not going to be a good positive for them. I don't really want to short this one until we start breaking under $20.98. So right here for me, a little bit of just no man land chop. Um, you do have momentum still in the bullish direction, so I'd have to lean that way, but I wouldn't feel comfortable unless we start breaking out of the high of yesterday, and that would take us to about 22.13. But let's see how this support wants to hold. Otherwise, can I see this one coming in, getting a little bit of a pullback, and then going? Probably. Really, really strong support down to like 1992. So if that helps. We got FL, Foot Locker. Foot Locker could be interesting. Do they have earnings this morning? I know they have earnings soon. Looks like they had it this morning. All right. They beat by 31% expectations. They're definitely, why are they gapping down? Did they put out a bad forecast? They beat by 7.86 million. I couldn't even tell you where Foot Locker is. I think it's in the malls, but then I thought people don't go to the mall anymore. I don't know. I don't know if they came out with guidance that was weaker, which we are seeing a little bit from retail coming out with all weaker guidance, interesting into the holiday season. So we'll see. I think Nike was considering going back and really starting to push into the Foot Locker, but honestly, for Nike, I think their direct to consumer that would be a little bit more profitable for them. They have some store closures. In a weird way, that's probably that helps their balance sheet in a stupid way. Anytime, and I'm guessing they don't own the properties, they probably have a lease. Anytime you have a lease, Walgreens has the same. I looked at Walgreens yesterday too. For the first time in a long time, I was like, wow, WBA has just been getting crushed, but they have a little bit of the same issue. Well, Walgreens has a whole bunch of issues other than this, but a lot of these retail stores, once you lease a property, you end up on the balance sheet, you putting as debt the entire year's worth of like the entire contract worth of debt. So it's not really the case, it's not really debt. They do have to pay it over time, but it's just part of the lease. So actually that will probably in a longer term make their balance sheet look better, although probably sales decline because you don't have as many stores. But keep in mind, I don't even know where the stores are. Nobody goes to the mall. I was told. So I know I haven't been there in years. Uh but that is quite the gap and go to the bear side. Do we have any support? Not really yet. I would see if you get bought up on this one. Probably rally to like 30.47. See if that's the spot where we come down. Otherwise, the next target to the downside, 29.68. I want to chase that one out of the gate. And then I think final target for really decent sell off would take us to about 29.03. So kind of limiting some of the risk to reward on this one. This one would have to be bought up for me to really play it. I don't know. All right. Lurkian's in the house. Happy Wednesday. Does RLT have free weeks scheduled for this year yet? I don't think we do. I don't think we have free weeks scheduled. I think we have a team meeting next Tuesday though, so I'll ask to see if we are doing one this year. But usually we do it like sometime in July. I don't think we did it this year. Which I don't know. I'm not sure as to why exactly. But on the RLT website, if anybody does want to trade with us or be with us live, and this is why we might not be, at least for this year, might not have the free week. We do have, if you sign up, you get 2 weeks free. You can cancel anytime. So technically, you could have 2 free weeks if you'd like. You just go to reallifetrading.com and take advantage of that. LULU. Yeah, so these are uh I think for a day trade, there's probably a lot of negativity around the stock still, a lot of probably worried people. Even if you were bullish on that drop, you're up some money. People might want to take some cash. I'm in it. I'm just holding, but they do have earnings tonight, tomorrow after the bell. Excuse me, tomorrow after the bell. So we have another 2 trading sessions until we figure out. And they are after, right? Yep. So we'll have to see. The big concern with them, obviously, is U.S. sales. If they could show any type of increase in U.S. sales, Lululemon will probably skyrocket. International sale growth would be good. They did have a good shiny little golden star on their report from international sales on the last report, so that's not bad. Valuation to me is very cheap on Lululemon. I think that their free cash flow is pretty outstanding. It's still growing. It's still a growing company. I think the main concern is their main customer base is US. So if US starts to slow down, decline, you start getting competition. So that's the kind of conversation with Lululemon. But we'll have to see how the report goes. But they do have earnings coming out tomorrow. You have good support, at least for day trade purpose, 267.78. If that starts to break, you got one more level of support, 264.52. But Lululemon for the next couple days, I would probably say you have a better risk reward to the downside of just people trying to lock some gains ahead of a report just in case. Keep in mind what happened last time though. Don't forget we had a good gap up. So we before earnings came out, we were sitting at like 305, 304, 53, something like that. We did have a nice gap up to like 336, even though the US sales weren't great. That was just mainly based off a little surprise internationally. So now you're coming in. If that free cash flow is still growing, they don't have a high bar to beat. They don't have the Nvidia stress. So we'll see. Kohl's came in. They beat on earnings per share. I think they missed on the revenue side of things though. They still had a nice little gap up. This one could be, and this one I think is a almost 10% divvy, something like that. But yeah, they missed on revenue by 165 million, so not great there. Do they have to be great? No, they have to just stay in business, I think. So very, very low bar on Kohl's, nothing too crazy. Um, I think they have enough cash to cover the divvies. And I think back when Walgreens was like $25, I was looking at it. They also had a good divvy, and I was like, I don't know that they have the correct cash. And sure enough, they started cutting. But Kohl's, yeah, and I think Walgreens right now price. I think you get like a 16% divvy, something crazy. I don't know, but I think that will probably end up getting cut again as well. Coles, I don't think they're going to cut their divvies. I think they're still okay. That being said, pretty good gap for today. I'm actually going to move this one a little bit higher on the list. So far, there has not been like a crazy amount of like really fun gaps that we saw yet, but Coles could be fun. Good high wave candle. Um, I guess that volume was yesterday, kind of preparing for earnings. Otherwise, I don't think it would show any volume yet. And they do have that low bar. They at least did beat on earnings per share. Wow, this is slow today. Come on, go higher. Is it just me? Am I just moving my finger too slow? Go quicker. All right. Oh, I thought that was the top. I thought that was the top. The never ending list. I'm afraid that I'm gonna just take my finger off the mouse. There we go. That's good enough. We'll get it up there. But decent. Target on this one, I'm not sure where we go, but I have $20.43. So again, a little bit of a limited side. If we could break through that, we got about $20.75. I'm not looking for huge move on it, but looks like they are surviving the earnings and not incredible earnings, but not bad. Coin and chewy for Lucian. Um, yeah, we took two trades on coin yesterday. The first one was like a quick, just punch in the face. It was like we're in and we're out type situation. We were looking for like a little inverted head and shoulders. The second one, we ended up making something like a 1.4, something like that. It's not bad, but Coinbase, a little bit of a gap down. Bitcoin, not great. I think you have some more room to the downside on this one, Lucian. So if you want to short, you're gonna start running into this daily EMA 200. So watch for like 192.65. We'll see if we get closing below that. Realistically, I think they start to die a little bit harder. Isn't that like a Bruce Willis movie? Die Hard? Oh yeah, Die Hard. That's it. Uh but yeah, 191.15. If we start breaking, I'd say 191. This thing is going to have a little bit more trouble and probably the selling picks up. Next target would take us to about 179.92. Does not look great. We do have that 3-day weekend coming up where I know just all the crackhead traders are going to be like, I need to trade something and buy something, and maybe crypto, since it's open 24 hours, would be a viable option. But it does look a little bit weak. You're at the low of yesterday too, so maybe a little, and it's inside day. Probably get bought up at open, I would assume. But it doesn't look great. We got Chewy. Yeah, Chewy, was that earnings? Yep, massive beat on earnings somehow. I mean, doesn't even look correct. And then he beat by 546 million. I think Roaring Kitty is still in this one now. Keep in mind he posted his little, what was it, doggy meme not too long ago. But this one was I thought this was up a little bit more after hours. This is a retest gap. Let's see if you get some selling on this one. I'm looking for well, I guess first support is right where we're at now. And then the target on this one would take us up to like 26.37. It does have a high short float, so we could get that little squeeze. Maybe we could get past this 26.37, and that could take us into like 26.91-ish, somewhere to that extent. But uh I Hindenburg report, look at this. That seems wrong. I don't know. That's quite the beat on earnings per share. So I don't know. But otherwise, yeah, if it dips down, I'm not opposed to trying to play this one. I would have to play it bullish. Those earnings just are crazy. Better than expectations. But you do have that high short flow too, though. So that could help us or hurt us depending if we get a little bit more movement. But a small little pullback on that one looks interesting. Box for a fade. BOX. What do we got? 2 minutes left. Box. Is this an all-time high gap? Oh no, it's not. Yeah, this looks like a good spot to fade. Is this earnings per share? That seems like a more reasonable beat. 9.23% earnings per share. And then they came in with a $518 million beat to the high side. You're right into a good resistance on this one. This is a retest gap. All right, we're gonna put box on the list for a fade. I probably want to give it like 5 minutes. I don't know if I want to be the first one, but just in case we start breaking out of that resistance and it just does crazy 2024 market type things. Let's see, move quicker, maybe. Now it's already gapping up past it, so no. For right now, yeah, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it bearish. I would actually probably stay more bullish. Anything past, if we start breaking down this $30 mark, that's when I would look to go short. Be careful. Otherwise, you guys are awesome out there in YouTube land. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. We got Nvidia earnings tonight. I'm also in the afternoon room, so if anybody has subscription to the afternoon room with RLT, I'll be able to share my thoughts on whatever happens with chaos after the reports come out. Otherwise, you guys are awesome, and I'll catch you guys later.